Following the killing of 3 police officers by soldiers of the 93 Battalion of the Nigerian Army in Taraba State last Tuesday, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has directed troops on internal security duties to be cautious in their dealings with members of the police force. He also admonished traveling military personnel to do so in mufti in order to avoid confrontation with policemen. The intelligence response team of the police, led by ASP Felix Adolije, had come under attack from soldiers along Ibi-Jalingo Road while taking a kidnapped kingpin, Hamisu Wadume, to the command headquarters in Jalingo. The 3 officers, as well as a civilian, died, while others sustained gunshot wounds during the incident. The Nigerian Army had claimed that the soldiers fired at the IRT team because they failed to stop at 3 checkpoints. But this was dismissed by the police, which demanded the whereabouts of the kidnapped suspect who was allegedly set free by the soldiers. But the Chief of Army Staff, in a letter dated August 9 and copied to army formations nationwide, accused the police of making inflammatory comments in the social media, which he said was capable of inciting the rank and file of the Nigerian police to exhibit aggressive tendencies against personnel. Joining me in the studio is a security expert, Ambassador Roy Okhidievbie. Thank you very much for joining us. Did I get that? I did. Yeah, okay, let's just get to the question from the directive from the Chief of Army Staff. Some say this doesn't point to a de-escalation of the confrontation, but rather an escalation of the situation. What's your assessment?
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity. You see, this is it's a growing situation that I think will bring all eyes on board on the intricacies of areas that have gone negative. Okay, so this signal that went public was actually to military formations. So it was not a public statement. It was a signal released to military formations. Okay, and that kind of signal has been going out most often during maybe Christmas periods, Salah periods, when people actually expect military persons to take pass from duties and travel. Then it is also a kind of alertness on the part of the military personnel that you exercise extra constraints on any possibility of fracas between any agency, especially the police, following from what is going on. I think it's apt. I think it's appropriate because it calls your integrity to question when you are now found, maybe you got drunk or you got loose with friends or you went to intervene, police want to arrest someone, you say my brother is around, he's a soldier. So it's a restriction on how you could do any other activity that will involve getting altercations with the police. I think it's apt.
Okay, still staying with this story, the confrontation, or some would say the misunderstanding between the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army could have been avoided. What is your assessment of the possible repercussion if this situation is not addressed quickly?
Well, the situation has been ongoing, and so many of us have been speaking about it. Even before I left the army, this is one of the areas we used to point out when we have events of opportunities to speak out about issues. Now, the situation started from the incident itself. Then it moved to the reactions of the agencies. Then it's now concluded on the damage control. The situation, the incident itself, we should limit discussions on it while investigation is going on. Especially some of us that are professionals. We may give in to lines that will help the absconding victim stroke suspect to be caught or whatever. Then it will also increase the hype on the emotional grouses on the people that lost lives, okay? So for the reactions, I would like to say that the police should not have released that statement. Then the army should not have responded. So both ways was wrong, because what we do in such situations is to immediately call up an interagency community where they sit down together and quickly nip areas of escape of any form of escalation that will get to the public, that could abuse the investigation, that could also help to manage the personnel, because we are in a very crisis situation now. We have herdsmen, we have banditry, we have kidnappers, we have terrorism, Boko Haram. We also have international terrorism influence, the ISIS. So we don't need this right now.
Would you say is a draft of leadership? Because if both of them know the consequences of such public confrontation between two agencies that should be sister agencies, doesn't that signal that there is a bigger problem to be addressed other than, you know, the current killing?
There is a lax on discipline, especially the freedom to hit the public space. Okay, that was what allowed those kind of comments to be shooting out. So the presidency also, I hold the presidency responsible for this, because it has the big stick and the whip to be able to hold the agencies accountable for whatever they do. The presidency controls the military hierarchy and the coordinates and the police and itself. So immediately that hits the news, there would have been immediate summon of the head of police and the head of the military and the head of defense. So while you have gotten this summon, there won't be opportunities for them to approve release of statements, counter statements. There will immediately be a roundtable that will handle this. There is, look, every government has an IA, immediate action, for such things that happen. So you should activate it. It should be activated. So I think there was a lax somewhere for them not to quickly have activated that from the presidency and hold all the parties, the hierarchy of the parties together for them to come to, one, is to pick up that man that is absconding. Two, is to track wherever statements came from. Three, is to meet the military men that took out the operation and quickly generate intelligence from them on where their instruction came from, what they observed, and see the cracks within and nip it. And I blame also the allowance given for military men to overstay in crisis area. You are not supposed to overstay in crisis area. Why? There is always the tendency, and people can work on your morale to say you don't have enough welfare, you don't have enough food, you don't have this, which has been trending. So you stay for your tenure and quickly withdrawn to the barracks. So the overstay of personnel gives this local government chairman, the community chiefs, the vigilante people, the rich personnel within that place to now begin to garner emotional attachment and financial support to these military men. Based
on what you've said so far, I'm just going to take a light from that. The kidnap kingpin that was being transmitted to Jalingo, so far we've not heard anything from the Nigerian army as to the whereabouts of that man. Isn't that tricky? Isn't that only helping to escalate the situation? What is your take on it?
Well, following from my experience in the military and my professional security experiences right now, I was telling someone, I said, I would like to assume and expect that even if the man has been caught, it should not be made public. Even if he has been caught or where he is has been located or any information relating to his abscondment, the channels of his abscondment or wherever, if he has left the country, if he's still in the country, everything should be held within the box. Why? Because it will help every other investigation. We are not only interested now on getting him. If he goes anywhere within 5 years, 6 years, the police could still get him. They have achieved enough to show that they can get a kidnapper who is absconding. I work with the police right now in so many investigations. I do, and I appreciate their efforts. But the essence of getting where the rigmarole came from, how come military people opened fire on police officers on a job.
Duty.
Yes, so that is what is key. That is what is key right now. So whether they get him or not, I would advise that they keep it within their fold for now and dig out the cross of this whole thing, that we really douse the issues. We need a victim. We need a suspect to come out from the whole thing and say, this is the person that led to the behavior of the military. This is where the phone call came from. Those are the things we really need. Then the scapegoat will come out and face the penalty. Then you see that the police personnel will be saying, okay, this is what really happened. It was not a military operation to counter their operation. It was criminal elements, or it was a confused channel of communication. Whatever it is will help.
Okay, there's a concerned group. They call themselves the concerned group. They've come out to say there's need for an independent judicial panel of inquiry into the incident in order to unravel what really went on, like you have been advocating. But these people are aware that the federal government has already constituted a panel. Wouldn't it be a duplication of responsibility? And do you see the government actually paying attention to this to create an independent inquiry aside from what is already on?
By agency standard, the army runs court-martial. After it's court-martial, it usually hands over, like that soldier that I think raped someone. He usually hand over culprits to the police for prosecution. In the Navy, in the Air Force, in the DSS, all agencies do their internal. Okay, now this is interagency fracas now. So it should involve the military and the police, maybe elements of DSS, the NIA, and all that. But when you want to bring in civilians, raw civilians that don't have arms control, the intelligence circulation within the agency, they will be exposed to information that they are not supposed to have. Because during this kind of fact-finding, a lot of agreements must be on the table amongst those people seated to say, this is what we do, but please let it die here. So a lot of things will be dug out within the findings and the fact-finding that should not get to ears that are not within agency expectation.
I'm being told we're out of time, but I want to ask you this quick last one before we go. Obieze has joined notable Nigerians saying that this country is heading towards a collapse if nothing is done. As a security expert, is it your opinion that Nigeria is at a tipping point? Are we there yet?
Every country moves towards a tipping point, a collapse point, and an uprising point. Sometimes the financial sector releases reports that our naira is depreciating or our naira is getting stronger. So I think it is apt for her to create awareness towards those coordinates that, oh, we are getting towards the wrong spot, we are going to collapse. And what she pushed out, becoming business, finance, security, and all that, were coordinated areas that you could easily get heads up that this country is heading that way. So I think what she said is right, and I think the appropriate government establishment institutions should look at it properly.
Thank you very much for coming on the news.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.